I'm going to go to Netflix and catch up on Paddington 1 and 2, get a refresher before checking out Paddington in Peru tomorrow. And P-A-D... No. No! Netflix doesn't have Paddington 1 and 2? Oh, no. Okay, calm down. I always got Hulu. Just the first one? Seriously? No. Paramount Plus. Not on Paramount Plus! No. Let's see. The Peacock. I can't. I didn't renew my Peacock subscription. And they just have the first one, they don't even have the second one. Everybody knows the second one's the best one. I don't know, what am I gonna do? This is a nightmare. I can't stream Paddington 1 and 2. They are not available on any streaming platform. Let's see. Max has it, yes! But just the first one? Everyone knows the second movie's the best one. I mean, yes, the first movie's great, but come on. Paddington 2, that's the greatest film ever made. Everyone knows that. What am I gonna do? I don't know what to do. What am I gonna... Oh god, this is a nightmare. Oh, why does streaming have to be so stressful because they don't have all the movies? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Amazon Prime. Of course. Yes. I am not going to use Amazon Prime and go to their website and buy the Blu-rays. Paddington 1 and 2. This would be a lot easier if stores had more physical media, but they think everybody can rely on streaming now, even though I just went through that struggle. Yeah, that's not the case, and be here shortly. Cool. Hey, streaming services, check it out. Now, I am going to gladly put these in without worrying about internet buffering. And enjoy. Oh man, the ending to Paddington 2 gets me every time. Why don't I watch these movies often? Honestly, I'm kind of hungry though. I barely have anything. I'm hungry. You know, I never actually had marmalade before. Is it really that good? Only one way to find out.
Where has this been all my life? No wonder this franchise is so good. I'm sorry. Paddington really got me hooked on these things, so, yeah. No big deal, I'll save it for later. Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time is going to be on Paddington in Peru. The third installment in this surprisingly great family movie franchise. This is a franchise that nobody thought would be good to begin with. When the first movie came out, nobody expected it to be a big hit because it was one of those live-action kids' book adaptations or cartoon or whatever adaptations that would assumedly probably not work, but thanks to Paul King, he managed to bring this bear into the movie universe and actually making a franchise that families of any age can enjoy. It's basically the exact opposite of the Chipmunks movie franchise. And this movie, Paddington returns for another adventure as he goes to visit his Aunt Lucy in his home of Peru, but it turns out Aunt Lucy is missing and he and his family have to go out on an adventure to try and find her. Now, I actually did see the first movie in theaters all the way back when it came out 10 years ago, but I never did After I Saw on it. I never reviewed the movie, but I did review the second movie when it came out, and I don't know why, because that first movie was fantastic. And I didn't even watch it again until this movie came out. Like, I didn't rewatch the first and second movie again until, of course, this movie came out. And I don't know why, because I really enjoyed both movies. The second movie, nobody even expected the second movie to be as good, let alone even better than that. And because so many people have made jokes about that being the best movie ever made because of the massive amount of claim it had, and it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for quite some time until, of course, it dropped. But it dropped right after Citizen Kane lost its 100% Rotten Tomatoes score. But hey, regardless, it's truly a fantastic movie. And I definitely don't think this movie is nearly as good as that film. I didn't expect it to be, especially since, Paul King stepped out of the director's chair for this one, mainly just due to the fact that he was working on Wonka. But regardless, I still think there is enough to enjoy about this third film. Even the first movie, I don't think this movie is as good as that, but again, it's still not saying a whole lot, because while I was worried because, there's a new director coming in and Paul King did a phenomenal job with both movies, there was still enough to enjoy about this movie. I think it still manages to be fun when it comes to its adventure. Though it starts off a little slow at first, it certainly gets better as the movie progresses. As I really liked how the family seems to be falling apart. Well, not necessarily falling apart, just relatively doing their own thing. Not really getting enough family time as they used to anymore, but because they're going on this adventure with Paddington, that tends to change a little bit. And I love when it comes to these movies, it mostly focuses on Paddington rather than the humans. Not that I didn't like the humans, I actually really did when it came to the human characters. And when it comes to these movies, there does manage to be a villain, but they kind of do it in kind of like a twist way, which I feel like was kind of unnecessary. But I'm not really going to get into, major spoilers and all that. I could say, though, that the direction for this movie is absolutely spot on. It knows what it's trying to be when it comes to its family adventure. It knows exactly what it needs to be. And the setting, too. Paddington himself, who is voiced once again by Ben Whishaw. Whishaw? I don't know, I probably should have looked that up, but you understand what I'm saying if you know who I'm talking about. He's still great as the main lead role of Paddington. And while not the entire cast returned, like Sally Hawkins had to be replaced for the role as Mrs. Brown, Hugh Bonneville still returns, and he's still great in the movie. Everybody all around. Despite the fact that these are kids' movies, they still know what they're trying to do when it comes to their performances, still managing to, be really entertaining and bringing in their characters to them while, of course, it's seeming like another family adventure film. And will the movie tug at your heartstrings? Yes, it definitely will. Though not as much as it did with Paddington in the second movie or even the first movie, because the second movie you felt really bad for Paddington because he was arrested for something he didn't do, and you just wanted him to get out because of how much he is charming as a character with the amount of shenanigans he gets into when it comes to interacting with stuff that humans interact with in a very goofy way. That's something I always loved about these movies. And despite the fact that he gets into these situations, nobody really just gets so angry at him for being so stupid because it's not really his fault. He's a bear. He's trying to interact with things in this world that, he hasn't seen, because he always lived in the jungle until, of course, he lived in with his family. But yeah, I guess sometimes where the movie falters is that while the emotion's there, it didn't really have as much as because when it comes to its emotion, it does tend to get a little bit predictable, but I feel like kids won't be bothered by that whatsoever. And like I said before, it's not as well paced, and when it came to its storyline, I feel like it's definitely far weaker because it does have that familiarity you would see in most adventure films. Because Paddington 2, I feel like it had such an engaging story, surprisingly, for a kids film. But hey, as long as the movie's fun, as long as I like the characters, as long as it still had that charm that we're known to be seeing in the Paddington films. And another thing I should also mention is that the movie kind of opens almost a bit similar, just like how the second movie opened. I know I'm saying the second movie a lot but hey, I still think the first movie's great too. It's just, there was just something about that second movie that just people just called it an instant classic. And again, I still think that. In fact, it kind of gets better the more I watch it. I'm just saying I didn't expect this to be as good as the second film or even the first film. I was hoping to at least have a fun time with the movie, and families, they're definitely going to have a blast with this one. It's completely inoffensive. It still has the same charm Paddington has had in the previous two films, while not being nearly as memorable as that. It's still good for just being a fun family film that parents can also have fun with because they treat kids maturely. They give them something that, they can have a fun time with. And it's not treating them like they're just complete morons, not adding in, humor that would just be aimed towards them, but also having some moments that families themselves would definitely have a fun time with. Being like, okay, that's a funny joke. I like what Paddington did here with, what he's interacting with. It's still a fun time. I had a fun time watching this movie, and I didn't expect it to be nearly as good as the first two, which it isn't. But hey, I can still say without a doubt that there has yet to be a bad movie in this incredibly bearable franchise. Well, a trilogy where all three movies managed to be very watchable. So yeah, I recommend checking it out, and as far as I know, they have confirmed there is going to be 4. And I'm just hoping they don't try milking it out, with every single movie, because they're doing that. I like what they did with this third one. If this was the conclusion, I feel like it would make for a great trilogy that doesn't need to continue. But hey, if they know what they're doing, then they have my trust. So yeah, regardless, I recommend this film. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and maybe subscribe for more reviews. And yeah. The Monkey comes out next week. I am really looking forward to seeing that. I loved Oscar Perkins' last movie. So, yeah, I cannot wait to see what he does with that film. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Ward out. Now, if you excuse me... lunchtime.